लीलामृतसार तार शत शतधार दश दिक बहे जहाँ हईते से चैतन्य लीला सरोवर अक्षय मनाहं सचरामृतसार तार शत शत। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौरभक्त वृंद। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौरभक्त वृंद। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौरभक्त वृंद। So we are discussing Mahaprabhu's meeting with Prakashananda Saraswati. So after Mahaprabhu returned from Vrindavan, when he stayed in Kashi, he met Prakashananda Saraswati. And Prakashananda Saraswati, he asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, you are a sannyasi. You're supposed to study Vedanta Sutra, but instead of studying Vedanta, you are you're supposed to study Vedanta and perform meditation, but you are just like a sentimentalist chanting and dancing. What is this? Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that my Guru Maharaj, he found I am not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy. Therefore, he asked me to chant this holy name of the Lord, Krishna, which is the essence of all mantra. And then he said, my Guru Maharaj actually taught me one verse which I have memorized. I want to recite to you. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Iva Kevalam, Kalu Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyatha. So, this mantra my Guru Maharaj taught because this holy name of the Lord is the essence of all Vedic hymns. Therefore, I am engaged in chanting this mantra. And Srila Prabhupada, while commenting to this verse, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Iva Kevalam, he quotes from Jiva Goswami's Bhakti Sandarbha, where we were discussing in the last class that initiation is very, very essential. And in that connection, Srila Prabhupada, he quotes this very interesting thing, you see. This verse is speaking about Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam. Harinam and Harinam and Harinam. Harinam is not actually Gayatri Mantra, which, in Vedic initiation means, Gayatri Mantra, Krishna Mantra, or any deity's mantra, Mula Mantra. So, here in commenting to this Hare Nama Eva Kevalam verse, Srila Prabhupada quotes this from Jiva Goswami's Bhakti Sandarbha, and he explains that it is essential to take initiation from a guru, and particularly we are speaking about taking Harinam. Then we discussed that yes, Harinam is also essential in our society. But you should know that today also we will see this Harinam is the mantra here. It is spoken, Mahamantra, or mantra also you can say. Mahaprabhu is speaking afterwards, we will see it today. Another important point also I want to bring to your attention that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he speaks about mantra guru and nama guru, who gives this name, initiates. So it is kind of, a custom in our society, Prabhupada has introduced, and we are following that. So then Mahaprabhu, he continues replying to Prakashananda Saraswati that Eyagyapayanam layanukshan nama laite laite more bhanta hailamo. Since my Guru Maharaj asked me to chant this mantra uh, by the order of my spiritual master, I always chant the holy name, Mahaprabhu is saying. Because he is instructed, that's why. Yei Agnya Paya. It's because my Guru Maharaj told me that Harinam is the essence of all Vedic mantra, Vedic hymns. Therefore, you should chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Therefore, Mahaprabhu is saying, Yei Agnya Paya. This is the instruction I received. Eh? Nam Lai Anukshan. Therefore, I am engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord always. Eh? Nam loite loite more bhranto hailamon. Very interesting point. He is saying, as I am engaged in chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it makes me forget about worldly matters. Bhranto hailamon. This word bhranto is coming from bhram. Bhram means uh, he it creates bewilderment. Means when I chant the holy name of the Lord, Nama and Nami, they are not different. As I connect myself with Nam, or through Nam I connect to the Nami, Nam Nami Avinna, there is no difference. I totally forget about worldly behavior. This is the actually, you can say, the goal of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. When we chant your name, then our heart becomes purified. When heart becomes purified, automatically the devotee loses taste for material hankerings. He will forget actually that he has to do anything in relation to this material world. He will forget because he has got the taste for chanting the holy name of the Lord. In the next verse, Mahaprabhu says, Dharya dharite nari hailam unmatta hasi kandi nachi gai joiche madamatta. While chanting the holy name of the Lord in pure ecstasy, I lose myself and thus I laugh, cry, dance, and sing just like a madman. We have seen a verse in the 11th canto in Bhagavatam. It says, Evam ratasva priyanama kritya jatanu ragadhita chittanucchayata hasatyathoro datirauti gayati unmadavad nrityati lokavaya. Evam ratasva priyanama kritya. While a devotee is engaged in performing kirtan of the name of his beloved Lord, then what happens? Jatanuragata chittanichaya. He develops anurag, attachment, attraction to the holy name of the Lord. And Srila Bhakti, Srila Rupa Goswami, he writes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that Managapi, even if a little bit of attraction is awakened in the heart of a devotee, then Chaturvargam Trinayante means Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are the hankerings of the human being in this world. These are the achievements, right? But he said Trinayante. It becomes as significant as a blade of grass. That means when by chanting the holy name of the Lord, the heart becomes purified. He doesn't value any object, material object in this world. He doesn't see there is any value for him. Of course, these kind of things we can just speak as a matter of philosophy because this is spoken. But the realization will come when a devotee sincerely chants the holy name of the Lord. He practices the pure chanting. Uh, like today also we will see, and we will discuss afterwards more about it. Uh, when one chants Nama, Rupa, Guna, right? Holy name reveals the form of the Lord. Nama, Rupa. What is that Rupa? The Rupa, the form of the Lord is so beautiful, is attractive, right? The attraction is released when the sadhaka attend a purified consciousness. When the consciousness is still attached to the material objects, he is still trying to find happiness with the material objects of this world, he will not be able to release the nectarian experience of seeing the beautiful form of the Lord. Not only he is seeing in the heart, but he sees him through Vigraha form, and by listening to the pastimes, he enjoys a type of happiness which he never experiences while coming in contact with the material objects. Therefore, Mahaprabhu is saying, Dharya dharite nari harilam unmatta. I became mad. Hasi kandi nachi gai. Sometimes I laugh, sometimes I cry, sometimes I dance, because this is the nature of Krishna Prem. তবে ধরিয় ধরি মনে করিলু বিচার কৃষ্ণ নামে জ্ঞানাচ্ছন্ন হইল আমার. Mahaprabhu is saying, while I came to this condition that I laugh, I cry, I dance, I sing just like a madman, then collecting my patience, I began to consider that chanting the holy name of Krishna had covered all my spiritual knowledge. Gyanachan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hints in this verse that to chant the holy name of Krishna, one does not need to speculate on the philosophical aspects of the science of God. For one automatically becomes ecstatic and without consideration immediately chants, dances, laughs, cries, and sings just like a madman. So here Prabhupada is saying, is Mahaprabhu is saying, I began to consider that chanting the holy name of Krishna had covered my spiritual knowledge. The spiritual knowledge is mostly referred to the jnanis. Jnanis, they deliberate on the knowledge of the scripture. Neti neti iti Veda pukare. Veda denies this is not Brahman, this is not Brahman, this is not Brahman. And then they try to find out what is Brahman. And when they realize the all-pervasive nature of Brahman, they stop the worship, because in the approach of the Jnanis, when they attain liberation, when there is no attraction for the material objects in this world, that means they have attained Mukta Dasha. They have become liberated. So they feel there is no need of worship. So those kind of knowledge is not actually, those kind of knowledge is already covered. Means by chanting the holy name of the Lord, Mahaprabhu says he experiences the bliss by connecting with Krishna in form of holy name. He is experiencing the beauty of Krishna to such a degree that this kind of jnana charcha, which normally jnanis they do by simply studying Vedic literature, is already covered. Means it is of no value. This is a very interesting point also we need to take a note on, that we also study scripture, but why do we study? Goal of studying scripture is to get the taste for chanting the holy name, especially in this age of Kali. Of course, we can study. We are not saying that we don't study. Why do we study? पढ़े क्या ना लोग कृष्ण भक्ति जानेगा है. That means by studying so many literature, if we have not awakened our attachment to the holy name of the Lord, then so-called study of Vedic literature is useless. Huh? That is the essence. That is the point. See, Mahaprabhu is saying, "Pagal hailau ami dharya nahi mane keto chinti nivedilu gurur charane." I saw that I had become mad by chanting the holy name, and I immediately submitted these at the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Purport: Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as an ideal teacher, shows us how a disciple should deal with his spiritual master. Whenever there is doubt regarding any point, he should refer the matter to his spiritual master for clarification. Very interesting point. You see, here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, when he had attained love of Godhead by chanting the holy name of the Lord, he became like a madman, and he didn't know what is happening. Why my behavior is becoming like that? That's why he contacted his spiritual master. The proposition, whenever there is a doubt regarding any point, he should refer the matter to his spiritual master for clarification. Not that a disciple, when he little bit progresses, he make a show of his devotion and he considers himself as become a very first class, high class devotee. No, in fact, when a devotee advances in Krishna consciousness, he naturally becomes humble because of his humility. He doesn't see that there is any growth or progress he has attained, or even if he comes to the point of releasing the taste of Krishna consciousness, still he finds himself very insignificant. That is his position. Therefore, Mahaprabhu is saying he is going to the spiritual master. Not that he is going to make a show of his experience. Oh, now I have received love of Godhead, and I am sometimes crying, dancing, singing in ecstasy. No. Rather, he keeps it concealed. He goes to his spiritual master and discusses the subject matter to get further clarification. But still purposing for any points, disciples should go and discuss the spiritual master. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that while chanting and dancing, he had developed the kind of mad ecstasy that is possible only for a liberated soul. Yet, even in his liberated position, he referred everything to his spiritual master whenever there were doubts. Thus, in any condition, even when liberated, we should never think ourselves independent of the spiritual master, but must refer to him as soon as there is some doubt regarding our progressive spiritual life. We should always consult with our Guru. Mahaprabhu continues. Kiva mantra dilagosai, kiva tarval, japite japite mantra karilo pagal. You see how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he has written this verse. He is saying, Kiva mantra dilagosai. When mantra, what is used only to mean Gayatri mantra, That is not correct. We have to see the context. Here, this mantra means Harinam mantra. Huh? So we are connecting, like Prabhupada is quoting Jiva Goswami in text number 76. So this mantra refers to Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Huh? So here also mantra means this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Kiva mantra dila Gosai kiva tarva. My dear Lord, what kind of mantra have you given me? I have become made simply by chanting this Mahamantra. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prays in his Sikshastaka, Yugaitam nimishena chakshusha prabrisaitam sunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. It is the aspiration of a devotee that while he chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, his eyes will fill with tears, his voice falter, and his heart throb. These are good signs in chanting the holy name of the Lord. In ecstasy, one should feel the entire world to be vacant without the presence of Govinda. This is a sign of separation from Govinda. In material life, we are all separated from Govinda and are absorbed in material sense gratification. Therefore, when one comes to his senses on the spiritual platform, he becomes so eager to meet Govinda that without Govinda, the entire world becomes a vacant place. That means uh, when the taste is awakened uh, in chanting, discussing about the glories of the Lord, his mind does not identify with this material world. This is the point. He sees everything is vacant, no value. It's like no valueless. He thinks sees everything in this world is valueless. Hasai nachai mare karai kandam eto suni guru hasi balila vacha. So Mahaprabhu is saying, my dear Guru Maharaj, when I am chanting the mantra you have given me, it makes me sometimes laugh, sometimes makes me cry. I don't know. Please tell me what is this? Then his spiritual master, he smiled. And then he replied, chanting the holy name in ecstasy causes me dance, laugh, and cry. When my spiritual master heard all this, he smiled and then began to speak. Uh, Prabhupada writes in purport, when a disciple very perfectly makes progress in spiritual life, this gladdens the spiritual master, who then also smiles in ecstasy, thinking how successful my disciple has become. He feels so glad that he smiles as he enjoys the progress of the disciple. Just as a smiling parent enjoys the activities of a child who is trying to stand up or crawl perfectly. That means if a disciple pretends to present himself in front of his spiritual master so claiming that he is more realized, Guru Maharaj will understand this. On the other hand, if disciple is sincerely engaged in serving, means he is engaged in chanting, reading, doing deity seva, or if he is living in the temple, whatever service he has got, he is doing it all sincerity. Even if he is a grihastha, in a grihastha ashram, he lawfully maintaining his family, taking care of the children in perfect Krishna consciousness. Then when he realizes something, he goes to his guru, discusses with his spiritual master. His spiritual master listens to him with utmost care and attention. He understands. Guru will understand it. That's what the point is. And Guru actually feels some sort of happiness. There will be heart-to-heart connection. You see, you try to understand this. Guru's heart is very clean, right? His heart is very clean. That means when we bring ourselves before the spiritual master, if we have a clean heart, then the picture will be very clearly visible to the Guru. But if we have dirty things, that also will be seen by the Guru. We are pretending, he will understand. How much we may become vocal, we may be expert in articulating the voice, trying to cover up the things, but he will understand it. Can't hide from a pure spiritual master. कृष्ण नाम महामंत्रेर एत स्वभाव जय जपे तार कृष्ण उपजये भाव. So now Guru Maharaj, he smiled. Then what is his reply? He is telling, Krishna Nam Mahamantra Eita Swabhav. My dear disciple, listen carefully. It is the nature of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra that anyone who chants it immediately develops his loving ecstasy for Krishna. We'll read the entire purport. This is a very important instruction or exchange between Mahaprabhu and his spiritual master, Guru. His Guru is speaking. Let's see what Prabhupada is saying. In this verse, it is explained that one who chants the Hare Krishna mantra develops bhava, ecstasy, which is the point at which revelation begins. Revelation begins. How the revelation begins? First of all, a disciple needs to become a sincere devotee. Means, not even in his mind, he pretends. He doesn't make a show of his devotional career, his activity, service. First of all, he has to be sincere. Without being sincere, if we think of there will be revelation, no, there will be no revelation actually. It is the preliminary stage in developing one's original love for God. That means when a devotee sincerely practices Krishna consciousness, before realizing the ecstasy in Krishna consciousness, he will be composed in this world, and even in dealing with worldly matters, he will have some sort of satisfaction. He will be very composed, means whenever he meets with some provocating situation or some people who may try to kind of, behave in an abrupt manner, he doesn't become agitated. This is the first situation. After that, only when the revelation comes, he will, develop this love of Godhead. That's and at that time he is hasatyati rodati rauti gayati. Uh, Therefore, Prabhupada says, Lord Krishna mentions this bhava stage in Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhava mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. See, this means sincerity is the main factor. Sincerity. How can one worship the Lord with all his heart unless he is sincere? A neophyte disciple begins by hearing and chanting, associating with devotees, and practicing the regulative principles, and thus he vanquishes all of his unwanted bad habits. In this way, he develops attachment for Krishna and cannot forget Krishna even for a moment. Bhava is the, bhava is the almost successful stage of spiritual life. A sincere student orally receives the holy name from the spiritual master, and after being initiated, he follows the regulative principles given by the spiritual master. When the holy name is properly served in this way, automatically the spiritual nature of the holy name spreads. In other words, the devotee becomes qualified in offenselessly chanting the holy name. When one is completely fit to chant the holy name in this way, he is eligible to make disciples all over the world. And he actually becomes Jagadguru. Then the entire world under his influence begins to chant the holy names of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Thus, all the disciples of such a spiritual master increase in attachment for Krishna, and therefore he sometimes cries, sometimes laughs, sometimes dances, and sometimes chants. These symptoms are very prominently manifest in the body of a pure devotee. Sometimes when our students of the Krishna consciousness movement chant and dance, even in India, people are astonished to see how these foreigners have learned to chant and dance in this ecstatic fashion. As explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, actually this is not due to practice. For without extra endeavor, these symptoms become manifest in anyone who sincerely chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. A very important point. Not that one has to undergo some practice to cry while chanting or use some medicine to apply on the eyes so that the tears will roll down from the eyes. This is what Sahajiyas will do. They go up to the stage by applying some medicine, and then when they chant, then the tears will roll down from the eyes. No, you don't require to do any practice, follow any practice. Uh, when he sincerely, offenselessly chants, remaining dependent on the Lord, the ecstasy will take place. Now, Prabhupada is writing, many fools, not knowing the transcendental nature of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, sometimes impede our loudly chanting this mantra. Yet, one who is actually advanced in the fulfillment of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra induces others to chant also. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains, Krishna Shakti bina nahe tar pravartan. Unless one receives special power of attorney from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he cannot preach the glories of the Hare Krishna. As devotees propagate the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the general population of the entire world gets the opportunity to understand the glories of the holy name. While chanting and dancing or hearing the holy name of the Lord, one automatically remembers the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And because there is no difference between the holy name and Krishna, the chanter is immediately linked with Krishna. Thus, connected, a devotee develops his original attitude of service to the Lord. In this attitude of constantly serving Krishna, which is called bhava, he always thinks of Krishna in many different ways. One who has attained this bhava stage is no longer under the clutches of the illusory energy. When other spiritual ingredients such as trembling, perspiration, and tears are added to this bhava stage, the devotee gradually attains love of Krishna. The Lord, the holy name of Krishna, is called the Mahamantra. Other mantras mentioned in the Narada Pancharatra are known simply as mantras. But the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is called the Mahamantra. Krishna Vishayaka Prema Parama Purusartha Jarage Trunatulya Chari Purusartha. Religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation are known as the four goals of life. But before love of Godhead, the fifth and highest goal, these appear as insignificant as straw in the street. So these four goals of human life, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are the achievements, right? Let us understand who is actually making these goals of his life. Our Acharya, they always speak in this connection that Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Why? Because Dharma is performed for Artha. When we get Artha, then we maintain this body. And when we maintain the body, the goal of maintaining body is to attain moksha. This is the krama. But if you see reverse, people who consider kama as the goal of life, then who are these people? Actually, they are the lowest category of people who have made their goal is to attain their desires fulfilled, material desires fulfilled. Let us be particular. And their consciousness cannot go beyond this physical body. Anything to do with the happiness, they find, even though it is temporary, even though it is bringing pain to the body, still they feel that is the goal of life. Like we can give the example, the animal, okay? This is called animal consciousness. Animals' consciousness does not go beyond their body. Just they want to satisfy the senses. And for which sometimes they are getting beaten by the master. Huh? Right? They don't have any control in their lives. They don't calculate what is to be done, what is not to be done. There is no morality in them. There is no social restriction. There is no social principle they follow. Right? So there are some human beings who have made this karma as the goal of life. They are actually like animals. Okay? Then there are the second category is those who are making Artha as the goal of life. They are little better than these uh, people who are making karma as the goal of life. Why we are saying they are little better? Because these people, at least they have concern about their position in the society, and they are also sensuous people, but they earn money to maintain their social status, and they want to have their position in the society, therefore they want money. At the same time, they also engage in sense gratification. Okay? But to do that, they follow this Laukika Dharma, right? Not Vaidika Dharma perfectly. Like they are moral people, we can say. They follow moral principles. Therefore, they gain respect in the society and they accumulate money for that only. So this is another type of people who make the goal of life is to earn money, Artha. But there are some other people who earn Artha uh, to gain happiness in this world and in the heavenly planet also. So they follow dharma, means they follow varnashram dharma, actually we can say. But in varnashram dharma, those who are simply engaged in finding pleasure in this world and in the other world, they are also condemned because they are following pravrityatmaka dharma. Right? Veda speaks about two types of dharma, pravritti and nivritti. Pravritti means path of enjoyment and nivritti is path of renunciation. So these people, even though apparently speaking, are following dharma, but their dharma is not helping them to attain moksha. Because even though they follow varnashram dharma, the goal is to get happiness through objects of this world in this lifetime, and after performing punya, we can attain the goal in the higher planets. What is happening? As long as they survive, live in this world, they get some happiness. And when they go to the higher planets, as long as punya is there, they get happiness. After that, they return back. That means that is not to be considered as the highest goal. Okay? Even though it can be considered better than person who is just kama as the goal. Okay. Then moksha. Those who are jnanis, they try to attain this Brahma Sadvijya, right? That is moksha for them. In Brahma Sadvijya, even though they try to realize the all-pervading nature of Brahman, which is also spiritual, we can say Chinmay, But that is not the highest form of the revelation of Chinmaya Tattva. Because in Brahman, there is no variegatedness. The sukha, the happiness they attain, there is no variety. Okay? So, these people, even though they have become liberated from this world of samsara, still their moksha is not to be taken as the parama purusartha. Here you see, Krishna Vishayaka Prema Parama Purusartha. When one attains Krishna Prem, that is to be considered as the highest goal of human life. Then one need to practice Dharma to come to attend to the platform of Krishna Prem. But sometimes when people take to this Dharma practice as a social status, to follow some moral injunctions, they follow Dharma, their Dharma is not going to help them to attain Krishna Prem. Because what will happen, we have seen people who are actually following some Dharma on the basis of morality, they actually become entangled in sense gratification. Their consciousness cannot go beyond because they are finding some sort of happiness, having a position in the society and performing their activities. They try to strengthen their situation, and that is a kind of a material also. They are bound there. Na jatu kama kama nam upbhagyam samyati. Right? It is like supplying fuel to the firewood. How can the fire will be extinguished? No way. And they are performing dharma. As I say, even if some people they perform varnashram dharma, especially in India, there are some pious people, and their social status they want to maintain. It's like supplying fuel. That is not going to help them to attain. That is not going to help them to attain nivritti. But actually, the goal of dharma is to become detached from this world. If it is not happening, even while practicing Krishna consciousness, then we need to kind of take a close look at our practices, our behavior. Of course, devotees are a little different now, even if they are not able to understand it, but eventually it will be helpful. It may take little more time, we can say like that. But they are in better situation than simply those people who are just involved in performing this Vaidika Dharma. And as we are discussing about Jnanis who attain even liberation, the Moksha, what happens? According to Jnanis, when they attain Mukti, liberation, they are not supposed to worship the Supreme. Because now you have attained Moksha, there is no need to worship. Actually, those who consider the form of the Supreme Lord as material, and we need to worship this material form of the thing, that we need to worship this material form of the Lord to become liberated from this world of samsara. And then once you have attained liberation, you have to stop worship because you have become liberated. These people fall down. But those people who are engaged in worship of the Supreme Lord, understanding the form of the Supreme Lord is Sachidanandamaya Vigraha, but they want to attain Brahman. When they engage in the worship of the Lord, then what happens? The Vedanta Sutra, Vyasdevi gives the analogy. He says, just like the man who is suffering from jaundice, when he takes sugar candy, he becomes cured of the jaundice. Means jaundice is killed by sugar candy. Then you can say there is no need to take sugar candy, right? Now jaundice is kind of gone, you are cured. No, because there is a vastu guna. There is a quality of the object called sugar candy. That quality is so beautiful, so attractive, even after the patient is cured of jaundice, he starts taking the sugar candy afterwards also. So this is the point. When they are engaged in worshipping the Lord, when they become liberated, even that time the taste is already awakened. They cannot give up worship. Huh? Right? That is the guna, that is the quality, unique quality of the vastu they are serving. That is Krishna. Huh? Vedyam vastavam atra vastu. Krishna is only vastava vastu. He is a person. When they are engaged in worshipping his vigraha form and they become kind of, Brahman realized, liberated, you can say, then they are getting attracted to the beautiful form of Krishna. This is why that is called Parama Purusartha. Krishna Prem is Panchama Purusartha. Fourth Purusartha is impersonal liberation. But actual Purusartha is Krishna Prema. Prabhupada writes in the purport, while chanting the holy name of the Lord, one should not desire the material advancements represented by religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and ultimately liberation from the material world. Chanting the holy name of the Lord, if somebody is thinking to gain one of these goals of life, then he is actually misusing the holy name. As stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the highest perfection in life is to develop one's love for Krishna. Prema Pumartha Mahan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matam Idam. This is the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Krishna Prema is the highest goal. When we compare love of Godhead with religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, we can understand that these achievements may be desirable objects for bubukshus, or those who desire to enjoy this material world, and mumukshus, or those who desire liberation from it, but they are very insignificant in the eyes of a pure devotee. See, bhuktikami, muktikami, sakali, asanta. Krishna Bhakta Niskam Atayev Sant. Krishna Bhakta doesn't want anything for himself. Everything wants to engage in Krishna service, in devotee service. So, those who desire to enjoy this material world, they are bubukshus, and mumukshus are those who desire liberation from it, but they are very insignificant in the eyes of a pure devotee who has developed bhava, the preliminary stage of love of Godhead. Dharma, religiosity, artha, economic development, kama, sense gratification, moksha, liberation are the four principles of religion that pertain to the material world. Therefore, in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is declared, Dharma prajjita kaitavatra cheating religious systems is in terms of these four material uh, principles are completely discarded from Srimad Bhagavatam. For Srimad Bhagavatam teaches only how to develop one's development law of God. You see, here liberation is also taken as a cheating religion. Why? Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says, out of these four, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha, तार मध्य मोक्ष वांछा कैतव प्रधान. According to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, desire for liberation is the topmost cheating religion. That is the topmost cheating. All are cheating actually. But those who are practicing the liberation process, that is highest cheating process. Tar madhya moksha pancha kaitava pradhan. Desiring liberation is the highest form of cheating religiosity, you can say. Cheating. Why? Jahan hoite Krishna bhakti hoy antardhyan. When one is kind of following this moksha, cultivating moksha, then there is no question of him becoming devotee of Lord Krishna, unless he is favored by a devotee of Lord Krishna. The Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary study of Srimad Bhagavatam, and therefore it ends with the words, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam saranam braja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. To adopt this means one should reject all ideas of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, and fully engage in the service of the Lord, which is transcendental to these four principles. Grihasthas need to sometimes think about earning money. Okay? You cannot totally give up that goal, okay? Love of Godhead is the original function of the spirit soul. And it is as eternal as the soul and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This eternity is called Sanatana. When a devotee revives his loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it should be understood that he has been successful in achieving the desired goal of his life. At that time, everything is automatically done by the mercy of the holy name. And the devotee automatically advances in his spiritual progress. So we'll stop here. Okay, one more maybe. Panchama Purushartha Krishna Premamrita Sindhu Mokshadi Ananda Jar Nahe Ekabindu. For a devotee who has actually developed bhava, the pleasure derived from dharma, artha, kama, and moksha appears like a drop in the presence of the sea. You see, this dharma, artha, kama should be practiced to become a devotee of Lord Krishna. Therefore, Papa says, Varnashram is a stepping stone. One who is practicing Varnashram Dharma, is practicing his Varnashram duties perfectly, and then making his financial condition strong, then leading a very happy life, he should not remain satisfied with that. The next is, should become Krishna conscious. Okay, we'll continue from 86. Next class. If you have any question or comment, we can spend some time.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Prabhu, every week we hear from you and every week we feel nectar, real nectar. And I would like to give you really thank you that every week we are getting real Sadhu Sangha, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Dandavad Pranam, Prabhu.
Dandavad. Shailesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes, thank you for the nectar, continuous flow of nectar. So I have a question. Liberation and liberated souls is a very broad spectrum, I mean, of what it means, isn't it? Because we use the word liberated soul.
Yeah. Here, liberation means becoming free from samsara chakra, becoming free from the birth, death, old age, and disease. Means that is entering into the spiritual world and becoming engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Krishna. That is liberation. But the jnana is those who consider themselves have become liberated. They are not actually liberated. Why? Even if by separating the soul from the 24 elements, material elements, which is body is composed of, they try to attribute these elements to Prakriti, and they try to separate the soul by deliberating on scripture. Why they undergo this kind of tedious process? Even some of them, they do practice Ashtanga Yoga also. Because their goal is this body is actually creating trouble. Means the suffering I am getting because of this material body. Now let us annihilate this material body. Then suffering is finished. This is their thing, goal. And even if they, to some degree, they become successful in kind of, becoming totally free from the bodily needs, they don't get attracted to anything of this world, but that is not the highest goal. Here is Brahmananda. What is that? Tarage khato dokasama. Just like the water containing calf's hoof print, that is the Brahmananda experience. And Krishna consciousness is the ocean, the water that contained in the whole ocean. So even if they are becoming free, that is not supposed to be the goal, because there is no variegatedness in the happiness. So Ananda Chinmayarasa Pratibhavita. Every time it is appearing new and new, giving new experience. So liberation means you have already given up your taste for the material world, material body, and with a spiritual body, you are engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. But before going there, as we quoted in the last class also this verse, Yaha jasya harirdasya karmana manasa gira nikhila swapyavasthasu jivan mukta sauchyate. While living in this body, still you are liberated when you are engaged in serving Krishna. That's it. Very simple. We need to understand this philosophy very nicely and have full faith on the process and commit ourselves to the practice, irrespective of what goes on around us in the world. People criticize us, they find fault with us, they give bad remarks, they pass bad remarks on us. Doesn't matter. I have my house, I have my family, I am earning, I want to happily practice my Krishna consciousness. That should be the goal. That's it. Then you are liberated.
So the context of moksha is only for the jnanis.
Impersonal liberation.
Impersonal. Because the same word liberation clearly applies for the bhava bhaktas as well. Yes?
Yeah. Yes.
And,
we have to see the context.
Yeah. And is the same true of liberation of those who achieve Vaikuntha? Presumably, there's
that is also liberation.
But that's a permanent liberation. Yes, I mean, it's unlike
that is permanent.
So only
Sarupya.
So moksha specifically is a temporary liberation, yeah, or can be a temporary liberation. There is.
We have to see in which context it is narrated.
Yeah.
Because
is the same word moksha also used for bhava bhaktas as well?
Yeah, that is the preliminary stage of prema.
Okay.
They are on the way. See, here this moksha is impersonal liberation explained because after that is speaking about param purushartha, that is Krishna prema, pancham purushartha, that is the highest goal. Even though some jnani, they think they want to attain Brahma as the goal, but that is not the highest, because in that Brahma Sukh, they get only Chit Sukh. There is not actually complete bliss. The complete bliss is only available with Krishna, right? He is a person. He is the highest truth.
So the context of this verse is for the Gyanis, because the result of bhava is liberation without
Krishna
seeking
prem.
it.
Krishna prem.
Yeah, so Krishna prem will give you liberation, although you're not seeking it. Yeah.
And how they will seek it, I explained that when these jnanis, they accept Krishna's murti, Krishna's form, vigraha form, as Sachidananda Vigraha, and they are engaged in attaining Brahman, when they are becoming purified, as we gave the example of jaundiced person eating sugar candy. After he is free from the disease, that Vastu Guna, the quality of sugar candy, is again attracting him to consume sugar candy continuously, because it is so sweet, so beautiful for him. Similarly, when they are engaged in worshipping Krishna, then they attain liberation. After that, they are becoming more attracted to his beauty, his qualities, and they become prema bhakta if they are in the right association. This is one important point. Because taste has to come from Guru. Taste cannot come just independent like that. Yeah. Thank you. Bankim Govinda Babaji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, I have two questions, if you're okay with that. First question is about sincerity. I mean, we discussed about sincerity in verse 7.83. So actually, sincerity is a very broad term. So what is the sincerity that is referred to here? Because sincerely one can do sadhana for his entire life, and the advancement may be very minimal. So does sincerity...
When I said sincerity, just one thing I was mostly, focusing on, that is, he is a truthful devotee. Means, he knows what is dharma expected from him without adulterating it, without pretending. He is trying to practice as it is. That's it. That is what the sincerity I meant. Very simple.
Fine.
And he knows how he should continue practicing Krishna consciousness. He follows all the principles thoroughly. That is what I meant by sincerity.
Okay, because sincerity is, I mean, in some context also, does it also mean like sincerely trying to fulfill his guru's instructions?
This is what I said. And this is the meaning of sincerity I was referring to.
Okay, fine, Prabhu, fine.
One
more question, Prabhu. Just I'll finish with this. So here in the 7.84, where we discussed about Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So chanting the holy name Yes, we have been discussing it. So before Chaitanya, now during Mahabharata's time, Bhishma, while he was in the bed of arrows, he called Krishna asked the Pandavas to go to Bhishma and listen to his dharma, what the instructions. So how was it at that point of time? Because Mahaprabhu, now we are understanding. I mean, at least for the last few hundred years old. So prior to that, how were people trying to reach this? Trying to reach the ultimate goal, because they followed the dharma, and that is the instructions given by, I mean, Manusmriti dharma, Yajnavalkya dharma, everything is there. Even Bhishma also told about the dharma to the Pandavas. So how to understand this, Prabhu?
No, see, Ismadev is one of the Mahajan. No, he is not confused about Krishna's position and Krishna Bhakti. And what he is saying, it was not outside of Krishna Bhakti, we can say. Otherwise, he is a Mahajan.
True. Yeah, I mean, he told Krishna is the Parama Purusha also. I mean, definitely he's told that.
So what he's saying is, what is the confusion? See, on those days also there are people, they are Krishna conscious people. They are following everything. There is no confusion. Very simple. Parika Devi Mataji, Parika Mataji.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is so wonderful, and you're also explaining so nicely this Chaitanya Charitamrita is giving us kind of elevation to my consciousness. What I want to know that there are different religion still coming, because I know the goal is Krishna, but they don't know that goal is Krishna actually. So what do they achieve in their own practicing of their own religion? Would they come to Krishna conscious eventually?
If they are simple people, they are trying to follow their religion, and then they come and meet with a devotee of Lord Krishna, then they can start practicing Krishna.
They will come eventually if they practice. Prabhupada used to say, if you practice your religion properly, then you will come to Krishna conscious. So they will definitely who are sincerely following their religion according to their scripture. So they will come to Krishna.
First of all, you should know that their scripture has been modified by so many materially motivated people. And those kind of directions, if they follow as it is not going to help. Try to understand, there is only one religion, that is Sanatana Dharma. Let me tell you, forget about them. I am talking about, even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Jajogoi prapyate sthanam, jo sankhya prapyate tajogoi apigamyate. Ekam yogam cha sankhyam cha. Means, the goal of Sankhya and goal of Niskama Karma is same. But the practice are different, you can say, right? Why the goal is same? Because one who is practicing Sankhya, why he is practicing Sankhya? Because that is his nature. He has accepted that. But if he practices proper Sankhya, then he will attain Krishna Bhakti. Why he is practicing Niskama Karma? Because that is his nature. That's why he finds that is the way, goal for him. And he practices pure Niskama Karma Yuga, then also he will end up becoming perfectly Krishna conscious. Similarly, God incarnates in every sections of the society, especially outside of Bharatavarsha, where there is no practice of Varnashram Dharma. According to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Lord appears as empowered incarnation, Satyavesa avatar. And then he teaches those people to practice their religion so that they can gradually elevate themselves. But now the question is, when Lord appeared as Satyavas avatar, whether you talk about Moses, you talk about Jesus Christ, anyone, are the followers following their directions as it is? Because as I said, many, religionists have appeared in their society who have given interpretation suiting to the material desires of the people. That kind of practice is not going to help them to attain Krishna consciousness. Whereas if they follow the actual teaching correctly, then they listen to Bhagavad Gita, then they will definitely take shelter of Krishna Bhakti. If they are not polluted, they are sincere, and then they will adopt Krishna Bhakti. Makes sense?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you,
Because,
Prabhu.
because they have been born with a particular mood, that's why they have been adapted to that kind of practices. Everything is under Krishna's guidance. When we try to become independent and apply our material motives, then we are deprived of Krishna Bhakti. Very simple.
you
Different
so much.
people are born with different qualities, that's why different practices are there. But if they try to find a proper guru, their guru will guide them to actually come to Krishna Bhakti.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
But nowadays in the world, these other religionists, unless they actually sincerely try to find the goal of life through practicing religion, and then when they adopt that mood, and then they come in contact with a pure devotee of Krishna, their growth will be very fast, I can tell you. This is the only process for them.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, dear devotees. Hope to see you next week. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpataru vyascha kripa sindhu bheva cha. Patitanam